Welcome to the board. Support us by liking this video and subscribing. This is a book move. The opening is called King's Pawn Game.
This is a book move. The opening is called Perk Defense.
I played pawn to f4 to challenge black's control of the center and create space for my pieces to develop. This move also pins black's knight on f6, putting pressure on the pawn to d5 square.
Knight to f6 is excellent. This attacks the pawn. This develops a knight. Pawn to e5 is best. This offers a trade. This attacks the pawn. This move gains a tempo.
Knight to c3 is best. This defends a pawn on f4. This develops a knight.
Bishop to g4.
Bishop to e2.
Bishop captures on e2 is the best move.
Queen captures on e2.
I played pawn to c5 to challenge black's central pawn structure and prepare for potential pawn breaks on the queen side. This move also pins black's knight on c6, making it difficult for them to maneuver.
Pawn to e5 is best. This offers a trade. This attacks the knight.
Pawn captures on e5.
Attacking the pawn on pawn to e5 with pawn captures on e5 creates a strong initiative, putting pressure on black's position. The pin on the knight on pawn to f6 is also created, making it difficult for black to defend against the attack.
Preparing to develop the knight to a strong central square, supporting the pawn on pawn to e5 and putting pressure on black's position.
Preparing to develop the queenside pawns and control the pawn to d5 square. Pawn to e6 also slightly weakens the kingside pawn structure, but it's a common move in the Harmonist opening to challenge black's central control.
Pawn captures on e6 is the best move.
Knight to f3 is best. This develops a knight.
Preparing to develop the queenside pawns and control the pawn to d5 square, while also eyeing the kingside and potential weaknesses in black's position.
Knight to g5 is the best move.
Queen to b6 pinning the knight on b7, preparing to develop the queenside pieces and putting pressure on black's position.
Kingside castle.
Pawn to g6 is best.
Knight to g5 is a sharp and aggressive move, attacking black's king and preparing to develop the rest of the pieces. It also pins black's knight on f6, creating a strong initiative.
I played knight to c7 to attack Rajesh's pawn on e5, creating a potential pin on his knight on f6. This move also prepares to develop the rest of my pieces and control the center of the board.
Bishop to f4 is best. This develops a bishop.
Pawn to e5.
Bishop captures on e5 is a strong move, pinning the knight on pawn to b7 and gaining control of the pawn to d5 square, preparing to launch a pawn storm on the kingside.
Knight captures on e5 is excellent. This is a trade. This captures a higher value piece. Pawn to h6 is best. This attacks the knight.
Queen captures on e5 is best. This defends the knight on g5. This attacks the rook. This pins a piece of the opponent to their king. This move gains a tempo.
Rook to g8 is good. This develops a rook. Queenside castle is best.
Rook from file to e1 is mistake. This move leaves pawn hanging on b12. There was a mispin in the previous move within d5. This misses an opportunity to create a checkmate threat. A chance to attack a queen within d5 was missed. The opponent can play 0-0. Knight to d5 is best. This offers a trade. This attacks the queen. This pins a piece of the opponent to their king. This creates a checkmate threat.
Castling kingside to connect rooks, prepare for potential kingside pawn storm, and support the central pawns. This move also slightly weakens kingside pawn structure, but overall, it's a strategic move to control the kingside and create long-term pawn center influence.
Rook to f7 is the best move.
Pawn to c4 check is best.
King to h1 is the best move.
Pawn captures on d3.
I played pawn captures on d3 to challenge Rajesh's pawn structure and create a potential weakness on the queenside. The pawn to d3 pawn also pins the knight on d7, making it harder for Rajesh to maneuver.
Rook captures on d3.
Rook from file e to f1.
I played bishop to h6 to attack the kingside pawn structure and prepare for a potential kingside attack. The move also pins the knight on g7, making it difficult for black to defend against a potential fork on the kingside.
Rook captures on h7.
Bishop captures on g5 is the best move.
Knight from file g2 e4.
Pawn to g5 is excellent. Rook to f8 is inaccuracy. This move leaves bishop and pawn hanging on h6 and e7. This misses an opportunity to create a checkmate threat. A chance to attack a rook with rook to f8 was missed. This permits the opponent to attack a piece. The opponent can play rh8.
Queen captures on e7 is best. This defends a rook on h7. This captures a free pawn.
I played pawn to g4 to challenge black's kingside pawn structure and create space for my pieces to develop. This move also pins black's knight on g4, putting pressure on their position.
Rook to d1 is good. By placing the rook on an open file, it controls important columns. This creates a checkmate threat. Queen to d6 is best. This offers a trade. This attacks the bishop. This move gains a tempo.
Queen to c6 is good. Pawn to a6 is best.
Rook captures on h6.
Rook to e1, check.
Rook captures on e1 is a tactical shot, aiming to capture the black rook on e1, putting pressure on the black position and preparing for a potential pawn storm on the king side.
Queen captures on h6.
Knight to d6 check is best.
King to b8 is the best move.
Knight from file c to b5 pins the knight on b7, preparing to launch a strong attack on the queen side. This move also weakens black's pawn structure, making it easier for white to launch a pawn storm.
Queen to g7.
Queen captures on g7 is a decisive blow, pinning the black king on g7, forcing Rajesh to sacrifice material and creating strong initiative for Alice. This move leverages the power of the queen and puts pressure on the black position. The game is over. White wins.